Ilkay, I think there's probably only one place to start, and that is last night's game against Arsenal. I mean, it couldn't have gone much better, really, could it?
Yeah, obviously it was great result for us. I think the performance was amazing as well, especially the first half. I think we had even more chances, to score a third, fourth, maybe a fifth in the first half. So we started really well, and obviously that always helps us, playing at the Etihad, under a lot of pressure, but with rhythm, high intensity from the start, scoring an early goal, and that always helps you.
Yeah, 3 goals between you on the night. On the pitch, what would you say felt like the biggest difference between yourselves and Arsenal?
I think the intensity, to be honest. I think the intensity with the way we started the game, the way we handled the pressure. Obviously, they were full of confidence. They are the leaders still, are the leaders of the league, and they tried to press us high. But I think we were calm enough, in our build-up to keep the ball, keep possession, and then create chances. And when we lost it, or when we had to go for a second ball, and chase them, we were fully there, fully committed. And I think that made a big difference yesterday.
I suppose the main part, really, of this chat is getting into how Manchester City, year on year, under Pep Guardiola, deal with that intensity and that pressure and manage to channel it in the right way. It seems as though sort of January, February time, something pretty special happens around here. But for you as a player right in the centre of it, do you feel that shift as well at that stage in the season when things really start ramping up?
I mean, looking back at recent years, I guess it gives us kind of confidence, knowing that even in December, January, we can be multiple points, behind the league leaders, but knowing that there's a lot of quality, in the team, and that we were able to handle that kind of pressure in the past, I think helped us also now, to go through January, February, obviously watching Arsenal doing well, it's probably not easy to deal with it, but we were always confident, and most of the time there's one game, that kind of changes things. And I would probably say there were 2 games. One was the first leg playing at the Emirates against Arsenal, winning it, and just to go then a few days later to Nottingham Forest, and drop 2 kind of very important points, by conceding one goal in the 85th or 86th minute. And I think since then we've won all the games.
Well, the other game I was going to put into that conversation there would be the defeat at Spurs. It would seem as though that was a bit of a turning point just purely because of the run that you've been on since. I suppose for you personally as well, you would have felt like what it felt like at the end of that game. And after that, it seems as though the jeopardy, it really spurred you on.
I'll probably say that at this point we are kind of used to lose at the Tottenham Stadium. So I think we've played 4 or 5 games there so far, maybe more, and we didn't even score 1 goal. So it just feels like that so far it wasn't meant to be for us there. But maybe, yeah. I mean, for me, this week between Arsenal and Nottingham was quite crucial, I would say. And if you especially look at the results since then, I think we've done amazingly. And yeah, we're on track.
I know what you're saying there about the record that you have with Tottenham, but I suppose when you look at the table at that point, I think you were 5 points behind, and they had that game in hand, Arsenal, and it seems as though since then it's really come to life. And Pep was talking after the game last night, and he said that there's something about this team, you just react to this mentality that the only option is to win. Now, to most people, that is terrifying. But what is it about you and this set of players why does that set you alight so much?
I don't know. I think that's just what we built for. I mean, this club is built to win. The players they have bought, the manager that is here. We are all here to be successful, and not to win the league is probably not enough. Even though we know that, especially doing it back to back, or I don't know, maybe a 3rd time in a row right now, it's so tough. Especially in a league like that. But our squad is strong enough to compete every single year to win the title. And obviously, if we are not in a position, especially around March, April, where we are not there, you know, and not able to compete, then it hasn't been a successful season. So we are again there. We know that there's still a lot of games to play, but we are there, and yeah, we want to be there until right the end.
What you say there about winning being in the DNA really of this club, again, if you look at the differences between yourselves and Arsenal this season, perhaps the experience that you have there winning Premier League titles, again, do you think that may well be quite a deciding factor in this title race?
Yeah, of course, it helps us a lot. I mean, a lot of credit to Arsenal. They have done amazingly so far, and I'm quite sure they will win still most of their games, you know, until the end of the season. So still there's no margin for us to slip, you know, no errors accepted. But they still have a very young team. They have, I think, with Alex Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, just 2 players probably who have won the Premier League before, and that with us. Obviously, I know that they can help them a lot. But if you are not used to, you know, compete, not just win, compete, you know, for the title every single season, it's hard, you know. And we kind of know what it feels like, what the pressure feels like, you know, what people expect from us, what we expect from ourselves, and how defeats also feel, you know. So yeah, that's obviously gives us probably an advantage, but still lot of games to play, and it's always what you make out of it. So we have still a lot of games to play, and obviously we have to win most of them to be crowned Premier League winners again.
I suppose the main difference as well about this season is the amount of time you've actually spent at the top of the table. I think I'm right in saying it's only 14 days this season that Manchester City have been top. What's that been like, navigating that? Because usually you're the team being hunted, you're not necessarily the hunters.
Honestly, something I haven't thought of until right now. But if I look back, that's probably a situation that's a bit unusual for us. But it is what it is. Sometimes it can help you, you know, to put the leaders under pressure when they start to feel it. On the opposite, you know, when we were leaders, and I remember Liverpool, you know, a couple of years were chasing us. We were able to deal with the pressure, you know, and I think no matter in which scenario we are, it's just for us about the next game and get the 3 points. That's really it.
So far, you know, you're not being shy here using phrases like title race. I suppose we are now getting so much closer, aren't we? How much are those phrases, or even the word treble, used in your dressing room, discussed, talked about?
Haven't heard that word in the dressing room so
not
far.
Yet.
Just saw it on social media a few times. But we know how difficult it is. I mean, obviously not many games to play left. But we are there. I mean, we compete for it, and we know that we have in the league tough games to face. We have probably the toughest opponent in the Champions League to face right now, and we have a derby, you know, in the cup final. So we know it's going to be very challenging, but this is exciting stuff, isn't it? So just to be there, I think, is already a success, and yeah, we will try to go for everything.
With games like Fulham, there's so much talk around the Arsenal match, the cup final that you've mentioned, the Champions League as well. Is it actually matches like Fulham that you need to be most careful of, where perhaps the noise isn't as loud, to reach those levels of intensity that you do?
Well, the best example was, as I mentioned before, you know, that Arsenal game at the Emirates, you know, just to win that, and just to go a few days later, you know, drop 2 points at Nottingham. So that's the best warning, you know, for us. So that is something that can't happen, and yeah, I think everyone is aware of it, and that's why I'm quite sure we're gonna deal with it differently this time, and of course we'll travel to Fulham to win the game.
I know you said at the end of last season, after that Aston Villa match, it was one of the most emotional days of your entire career. With the way that this title race is going, do you think this could potentially be even more emotional, the biggest yet, if City do it and get that 5th title?
Well, it would be, I mean, for me personally, it would be quite difficult to top that Aston Villa game, actually. But if there is a similar positive outcome for us, I'm really up for it. So obviously, we don't want to make it that exciting, you know, until the last game this season. That's the target. But you can't really predict. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. At the end of the day, the most important thing would be to try to win it again.
All right, well, thanks for your time. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.